Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us this Tuesday. I'm Morgan Wolf. Let's get right to the top stories. Developing right now, one of the biggest school districts in the state may be on the verge of a teachers' strike. Right now, the Minneapolis Teachers Union is entering its final mediation to try and negotiate a new contract. If there is no deal, teachers could vote to strike as soon as this Thursday. The union has spent 7 months of negotiations with the Minneapolis Public Schools. If educators vote to strike, the union must give the district at least 10 days notice before walking off the job. The union hasn't had a contract since June, and demands include raises between 6 and 10%, class size limits, and more staffing for special education. Minneapolis Public Schools touted its latest proposal that aligned with the union priorities, like significant investment to reduce class sizes.
I don't think that's radical. I don't. We want a safe, stable destination district, and that is what we're fighting for every day.
The union last went on strike 3 years ago, and last year a strike was just narrowly avoided. New today, Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison wants to keep his job. The two-term Democrat was first elected in 2018 and narrowly won the gig back in 2022. So far, Attorney Ron Schultz, a Republican, is also running for Attorney General. He is the only GOP member so far to announce a run for this race. Vice President J.D. Vance is in Israel today trying to hold together a fragile ceasefire between Israel and Hamas. He is in the country as the Trump administration tries to secure the fragile ceasefire it helped broker between the countries. And that is after fighting broke out between the two sides of Hamas and Israel over the weekend. Israel says Hamas attacked their personnel 2 or 3 times in the Gaza Strip. Israel responded with airstrikes, killing dozens of people. Hamas says that it has not violated the ceasefire and that they are committed to the agreement. Also overseas, European leaders said today that the current battle lines in Ukraine must be the starting point for any peace talks. It comes as preparations for a summit between Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin appeared to have hit a snag. NBC's Kare Simmons is in Moscow now with the latest.
Hey there, well, just days after President Trump said that he would meet with President Putin potentially within 2 weeks in Budapest, Hungary, the Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov saying that it wouldn't be enough to simply agree a ceasefire along the current contact line in Ukraine, that Russia would want an agreement of Ukrainian neutrality. That is not something that Ukrainians or the Europeans would be prepared to sign up to, not least because Kyiv would be concerned that if it did agree to that, it would open itself up to a Russian attack in the future. The Europeans, and this is an amalgamation of different European leaders, a really quite unified group, putting out a statement saying we are all united in our desire for a just and lasting peace deserved by the people of Ukraine, that we strongly support President Trump's position that the fighting should stop immediately, but it says we remain committed to the principle that international borders must not be changed by force. So just days after President Trump had a call with President Putin and then met with President Zelensky and said that he believed that peace was possible and that he would meet with the Russian leader, that the Russian leader would leave Moscow here and fly to meet President Trump, that meeting looks less and less likely. Kare Simmons, NBC News, Moscow.
A look now from the U.S. Capitol on day 21 of the government shutdown. As of today, it is tied as the second longest in U.S. history and still no end in sight. Just last night, Democrats voted against a Republican-backed bill for the 11th time. The bill that would have funded the government until November 21st failed in a 50-43 vote. Democrats say that they want a bill that addresses Medicaid cuts and expiring Obamacare subsidies. Republicans say that they won't discuss that until Democrats pass their bill with no changes. If you went on the internet at all yesterday, you probably noticed some major apps and websites not working, and that included Kare 11 Plus. So what exactly happened and how bad was it all? Kent Erdahl has a closer look.
A pizza parlor doesn't stay in business for more than 50 years without adapting to the times. But Giacchino's Pizza in Minneapolis,
we'll see you at about 6:15.
Didn't anticipate having to go back in time.
Thank you. Okay, bye-bye now.
Today, They took orders by phone and in person only because of a disruption with its point-of-sale system known as Toast, and it impacted their dough in more ways than one.
Employees can't punch in and out. If we did payroll today, they wouldn't be paid. We can't pay any bills with that because QuickBooks is affected with it. It affects everything.
A mess.
Yes, it is. Yeah, a headache that a small business doesn't need.
And owner Patty Keegan knows they're far from the only small business feeling it.
If anything happens with Toast, it's nationwide. Hopefully they'll get this fixed because it's millions of people.
And Toast isn't the only system that got burned.
Apparently, we are losing $75 million of revenue per hour for various companies because of this outage.
Cybersecurity professional and owner of TCE Strategy, Bryce Austin,
Delta's in the same boat.
spent the day navigating just a few of the many issues stemming from the Amazon Web Services outage.
I can get to my Delta.com information. If I try to change an existing booking, it won't let me. We're experiencing technical difficulties and apologize for the inconvenience.
He says that inconvenience touched everything from Ring doorbells to the MNsure Health Insurance Contact Center because AWS offers a full menu of cloud-based services.
104 services are being impacted. They have something like 35 or 40% of the total market share for all cloud services worldwide.
He says the outage started at a single critical data center in Northern Virginia.
What surprises me is that losing one of their large data centers is causing such massive havoc. And apparently, the system that checks if the load balancers are working right is somehow responsible for these systems not being able to connect at all. If that really is the root cause, because it's a system that monitors other systems, this is kind of like your fire extinguisher being responsible for burning down your house.
And hours later, they were still trying to put that fire out.
It's a game of hit and miss as to what systems are going to be working and which ones are down for the count.
Meanwhile,
A small restaurant like this goes day to day. We rely on money in and out.
Patty's just hoping the whole day isn't toast.
To be clear, you can take credit cards or you cannot today.
We'll accept the credit card, but we won't know if the payment goes through.
That's scary.
Yeah, that is, because a small business, we do a huge amount of credit card business. We have the potential to lose that business today.
Onto a developing story right now, though. Police are searching for a group of suspects who allegedly attacked two people in a church parking lot. We now know that both of the victims are employees of St. Joan of Arc Catholic Church. According to police, a group of men arrived in two gray vehicles shortly after 8 o'clock and attacked the two victims, robbing one of them and then leaving them with injuries. Police say one man fell and had a head injury during the robbery, while the other was hurt trying to avoid something that was thrown at him. A witness says that she helped one of the victims as they waited for an ambulance and the suspects drove off.
They were sort of backing up so they could peel out, and I was terrified they were going to run him over. The poor guy, he could have been killed.
And there is no update right now on arrests. Minneapolis police, though, did share this statement saying, in part, in the wake of recent crimes targeting places of worship, the department has directed officers to provide more patrols around these places when they are not responding to 911 calls.
At the very least, this is opening up the door for people that are non-citizens to vote. And it seems like they're confirming that non-citizens with this driver's license can vote.
That is Joe Rogan talking about a recent legislative hearing in Minnesota that discussed potential election fraud. A clip from that podcast has been making the rounds on social media, with conservatives alleging our state laws allow non-citizens to vote. But is that really the case here in Minnesota? As Danny Spiewak found out, the answer is much more complicated.
Good morning, everyone.
Last week, the House Fraud Prevention Committee invited Secretary of State Steve Simon's office to testify about election integrity.
It's an honor to be with you.
During the hearing, Republican lawmakers questioned whether a non-citizen could obtain ID under the state's driver's license for all law, which took effect in 2023, and use that to register same day and vote.
Because we give driver's licenses to anyone in the state, they can vote.
It is a felony for a non-citizen to register or vote in a Minnesota election. State Elections Director Paul Winnell testified that someone using a driver's license to register under false pretenses could be flagged and referred to law enforcement, although that would happen after a ballot was submitted.
It is the other elements of being eligible to vote that the voter is attesting to and certifying at the time that they're registering and when they are casting a ballot.
Thank you. So the answer to my question is yes.
Parts of this exchange hit social media and then the Joe Rogan show last week.
Okay, Minnesota Elections confirms non-citizens can vote with driver's licenses.
In response, Secretary of State Simon has repeatedly emphasized that non-citizens are ineligible to vote.
And in the case of citizenship, not only is it a felony, it is a deportable felony and a permanent bar to citizenship.
According to Simon, Minnesota can flag illegal voting by cross-referencing information at the state and county level.
So it's 2 layers of potential review across multiple different issue areas: Social Security, death indexes, immigration-related information that we're getting from law enforcement.
Still, Republican Representative Walter Hudson questioned the vulnerabilities in the overall system, given that illegal voting may not be flagged until after the fact.
They perjured themselves, great. But the ballot that they cast still counted, correct?
While the vote would count, a study done by University of St. Thomas law professor Virgil Wiebe found there were only 3 convictions of non-citizens voting in Minnesota between 2015 and 2024, out of 13.4 million votes cast.
That means there are probably a handful more, but there's certainly no systematic effort to vote en masse by non-citizens.
Not only could a non-citizen get deported for trying to vote, but they could also be permanently banned from seeking citizenship. Stay with us. We got more news and weather coming up after the break.